Hey everybody, welcome to the show. It's Black Sheep Rising, episode 52. Oh my god.
Hold up.
What happened?
That means 1 year, motherfucker.
Does it?
There's 52 weeks in a year.
There you go. How you like that?
Episode 52 plus the pilot that you never count. That means we've been doing this for over 1 year.
Hey, what can I say? Hey, and speaking of motherfuckers, my name is Conan Salada. Right next to me, Daryl W. Perry.
What's up?
And hey, we got this guy. He's not in the shot anymore because he's trying to shoot us shooting the shoot.
Yep.
Bo Davis, who...
That's like some Inception stuff right there.
Yeah, I know, man. How do you like that? It's like the mirror with the mirror. I mean,
It's a shot within a shot within a shot.
Uh-huh. Bo, what's going on, man?
Well, not a whole lot. I'm been in Keene for a little over a week now. I had only planned on staying in Keene for a week and decided to stay a little longer and postpone my Manchester trip. So
yeah, and getting lots of good shots. I saw the you hit Mount Monadnock.
Yep.
Some cool, sweet visuals coming from there, and of course you've been interviewing peoples here in the area.
Yep. I've been interviewing activists and movers and doers and shakers. So all kinds of people.
How about some Quakers? Interview any Quakers?
I'd like to.
Isn't
Mark Edge is a
Mark
Quaker.
Edge is kind of a Quaker, right?
Okay, well, I did interview a Quaker then.
There you go. How do you like that? So, what else has been going on in Old Keene since you've had kind of an interesting week because you had the Fat Stuff raid.
Yep.
You saw that. They had the People's Barbecue last Friday, and some of the haters came out.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a fucking barbecue.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I heard like tacos and like pasta.
It wasn't a barbecue, but it was tasty food, and it was offered to the protesters, and they didn't, and at no charge. And we are capitalists, so I mean,
so that's a lot.
Yeah.
If we're talking free, I mean they couldn't have expected that at all.
Well, they might have expected it. But
It was posted online that it was going to be free food.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have had all the time in the world to make all those snappy signs that they brought with them. I saw the very short little bursts of that video, and I know that it was a silent protest, so no one was saying anything. Of course, Garrett was out there, talking, and I know some people have.
He had some really good commentary.
Yeah, he did, but at the same time, it was it might have been a little overdone, maybe. Because I know the haters have made comment that, the getting in the face can be overwhelming, and I think people might take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
But you're right. What he was saying was spot on. I mean, it wasn't like he was talking smack. I mean, he was actually talking, facts and whatnot. But no one would talk to him.
Yeah.
They just stood their ground and held their signs.
Well, it was right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's not.
Of course.
It's exactly what we've been doing the same thing for the longest time. But this is, I think that was since I've been here, that's the first time I've ever seen the opposition come out in force like that.
Yeah,
and I know
there's been other anti-freaking protests, but never. To that extent.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I know that they're probably proud of themselves. I know they're probably on the old face space right now, and they're having a good silent fist bumps. There, your camera did that thing again.
Yeah, I still
turned off. That's what that is called. It's
card
called
is full.
Turning off.
Well, it might not be turning off. It might have gone to sleep.
Card's full.
Oh, well, there you go. So your whole Inception plan is off to a bad start already.
Well, so does that mean that we intercepted the dream and realized we were in a dream within somebody else's dream?
Well, no, that level, which is a deeper level, shut off. So it was full. So that level of the dream encountered too much knowledge and either ceased to exist because it died. Because that's what happened. You can die in your dream, right? So, but it takes longer. So 1,000. So that might be 1,000 years to our 1 year here, or something like that. I don't know. Right.
Because the further into the dream you get, the longer the time is. And
Right,
you can live an entire lifetime at like the 4th level of a dream.
Right, so we've been filming for 6 minutes, and that was enough time to fill that entire card because, of course, it's deeper into the dream.
Yeah, that's like 3rd level into the dream.
So instead of the 32 gig card you put on there, you should have gone for, I don't know, 128.
Terabyte.
No, they don't make 128 terabyte.
No, not 128 terabytes, 1 terabyte.
Oh, okay. I don't think they don't make a card that big. I think 128 gig is about the average that you can like purchase somewhere for.
No, they just announced like some super giant.
Yeah, Bo can't afford whatever they're asking for that.
And a few people did some calculations to figure out what sort of space would be needed to fill up that same amount of memory using the old 3.5-inch floppies.
Did you say floppy?
I did say 3.5-inch floppy. Or no, I think it was a 3.5-inch hard and a 5-inch floppy.
Oh,
I always got the sizes confused, but I always laughed whenever they would say floppy.
So, anyways, the haters came out. They had a silent protest. They had a bunch of signs. I know that Ian had like a special hour on Free Talk Live that night, refuting a lot of the nonsense signs. I don't know.
It was like an hour and a half.
Were people calling in and stuff?
No, not really.
Oh, really? Well, they were saving that for the Free Talk Live after show that I haven't even heard yet. I'm waiting to hear one.
No, I think the people that were local that wanted to say anything waited to do that on the WKBK morning show the next day.
Well, that's the thing, though. I listened to that show. I listened to Dan and, of course, Sound Off on Saturdays, and I don't hear a whole lot of the haters. I know I've heard a couple. There's this one old man who's always calling in. He's always like, these kids, they just want attention, and they never got attention from their parents, and so that's what they're doing right now. He calls in. I've heard him like 3 times, providing the exact same argument.
Sounds like Fred.
It's not Fred Parcells. But yeah, it's very similar, and I don't know. I don't know what to think about all this. It's you know that you're doing something either wrong or right when the opposition starts coming out in droves like they are.
Yeah.
The one argument that I keep seeing that really, really bothers me, and it was in the article that we covered last week. Like in the first paragraph, it says Keene is being overrun by these liberty-minded folks, and we're being told that we're in bondage and we never knew it. And that really, really bothers me, but bothers me in that it makes sense to me. Yes, I think the majority of people who we live with and rub shoulders with on a daily basis have no idea that they're slaves,
right?
Or serfs, if you prefer. They have no idea that what they support and what they pledge allegiance to in the morning is, really keeping them down. Just like Harriet Tubman says, I freed 1,000 slaves.
I could have freed 1,000 more if only they had known that they were slaves.
They had known that they were slaves, and that's what really bothers me more than anything is that not only these people not only they are not aware, the servitude that they're stuck in, but they actually support it. They're actually out there having rallies like, hey, government, holding us down. Yay, I love the boot on my neck. I love the guys holding me down. It's
called Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
And I think that's what bothers me more than anything. And listening, of course, to the radio programs, some of the hosts, they're they don't get it either. They're all in favor of the boot. Yay, boot.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a lack of wanting to take personal responsibility for one's actions. So you have, whatever the case may be, that the government happens to be taking care of, that should have been your responsibility. Like people, I don't want to have to deal with it. Like I'll just go ahead and go with the rules, go with the flow, because the flow is going by this kind of collective law.
Yeah, it's easier that way. So, I mean, I don't want to have to worry about finding a school to send my kid and having to do all that all that work figuring out what school's better than the others,
really
and all that
taking
research and stuff. I just want someone to take care of it all for me. So there's
Right.
a one-size-fits-all school out there, and
Yeah, I don't need to take a real personal interest in my child's education. Someone from the state will take care of that.
Yeah, and they know best because they're educated and they're professional. And I'm sending them almost $20,000 a year per kid, so that's got to pay for something good, right? I mean, we should be spitting out friggin' rocket scientists coming out of Keene, man. It's at that a much.
Yeah.
But no, it's we're
Well, and then you also you're not taking into account that the brightest child and the least bright child are getting basically the same education, thus causing the brightest child to be held back so
Exactly.
that the teacher can then catch the not brightest child up to where the bright child is.
And I think
they're
when saying something like that too, you need to like define what brightest or bright child is.
the kid that's not on.
No, the kid that gets it the
And I
first
think-
time the teacher says something, and then the kid that the teacher has to go over and step by step explain everything to.
And I think a lot of that has to do with how a child's been brought up too. As a
Certainly.
parent can teach a child how to be attentive and listen, and those are actual skills. Those aren't to be able to listen and retain.
Right.
what's
And
being said.
that kid that isn't so bright might be bright in some other category. That kid might be a fabulous auto mechanic.
Right, or
That
anything.
kid
cook
might be
or,
the next plumber that's going to devise some new. He might be some kind of an engineer or something. He might
Right.
be horrible at math, but as far as figuring out shapes and whatnot, he might be the next gene. But
Right.
but
And that's the problem.
But he's
And-
having to deal with a one size fits all. You have to learn your sciences. You have to learn your histories. You have to learn your maths.
And the
but which-
kid that can do quantum physics in their head, if you put that kid in the vocational school trying to tell him how to rebuild a carburetor, he's going to be the not brightest kid in that class.
Right. So the big problem is the one size fits all.
Right.
And this is every sector of government. The best thing that you can do is provide third party private industry with competition involved.
Right.
So that we can make choices.
Right, and then the choice even from the get-go that maybe the parents can homeschool. Maybe, I even this whole 18 thing, people have, not really fully owning themselves until they're 18. Some people I've seen.
Unless you want to drink alcohol, then it's 21.
I see people perfectly capable of providing for themselves, living on their own and everything, and making choices and good choices, and of course everybody makes bad choices, and they hopefully learn from those.
But that age is not. It used to be 18. Now it's getting kicked back any further. It's getting
Right. Well,
there's a reason why they decided 26 was the age of cutoff for
That's what I was just
the
gonna
old
say.
Obamacare.
Yeah.
Because you have more and more kids living with their parents
Right.
further on.
Not only
longer.
that, but you also figured that the average child now, or young adult, is going to college. And on average, it takes 5 years to get a bachelor's degree, meaning that you're not getting out of college until roughly age 23. Then it's going to take you a couple of years because, unemployment is fairly high. There's not a lot of good paying jobs.
Right.
It's going to take you a few years to get on your own. So until you're able to get on your own, then we're considering you to be a child.
Right, and how many kids do you know getting out of college they're going right back to their parents' house?
I am a perfect example. It's exactly what I did. I graduated in 2008, and I ended up going straight back to my parents, and I lived there for about 2 or 3 years, and I heard about the Free State Project, and I was like, you know what, I need to get out of my parents' house. I need to start making something for myself. I need to, I'd spent 4 years, even though I didn't really want to fully pursue it and go ahead with the college thing, because I see it as just a piece of paper. And as I was getting educated, I was realizing I could learn all this on the internet and save, $100,000 debt. Anyway, as I digress, I went straight back to my parents, and I sat around for like I said for a while, and I saw the Free State Project. I said, well, shit, I need to get out. I need to get out of my parents' house anyway because I feel like a burden. I'm eating on their bill. I'm, taking up space. I'm leaving stuff around. I'm being irresponsible. I need to start taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And so I never did take unemployment or anything like that because as I moved up here, I was well on my way to anarchism. But yeah, I couldn't stand being at home. I felt like a child at 26.
But that's how it should be. I mean, there should come a time in a kid's life where, either they don't want to put up with the old rules that dad and mom have set down for them, or, they want to grow up out of their shell and do something and become something that
right.
That's available to them,
Mm-hmm.
but they couldn't do it. They remain stuck in the mud.
Right,
I mean,
and it's like victim, they feel victim to their circumstances, and really, you got to rise out of that,
Yeah.
because,
and so many parents, it's not just the kids' fault; it's the parents who are, to some extent, to blame for allowing some of this to happen.
Well, I try not to be regretful, but I often, as I've sounded regretful earlier talking about my college experience, my parents pushed me to do it, and I was kind of mad at them for a while.
But did they push you to move back home?
No, they
That's
pushed
what
me.
I'm saying.
They pushed me to finish the college career, pathway and everything, and I kept telling them I don't want to spend this money. I don't want to
be in debt for the next 20 years or whatever.
Right.
If you do get a job and you're actually
I
able
wanted
to
to
pay
stop after 3 months. I was like, this isn't for me. I can just go in. I can learn all this stuff online, but they're, no, get that paper. Get that piece of paper.
Yeah, well, people are led to believe
That the way to...
That's the way to do it. I mean, and it might have made sense 20 years ago, but it doesn't work that way anymore. I mean,
my parents were also
it makes
led to
sense
believe that
now for certain fields.
Yeah.
If you want to go work for, SpaceX as a rocket scientist, you can't do that as a high school dropout.
I mean, it makes sense for a lot of associate degrees where you're learning a tech
Right.
for 2 years, not whole 4 years, but just getting your feet wet.
But even the 2-year degrees, you're going through a lot of, basically bullshit classes that have nothing to do with your major.
Mm-hmm.
You're going through a lot fewer than you would if you were going for a bachelor's degree.
Right.
But you've still got a lot of, extra bullshit that you've got to take just to where, well, no, the law says that you have to have this many credits, and so here, take either art appreciation or music appreciation. Even though you don't want to take either one, you have to take one of them, otherwise we can't give you this piece of paper.
Right. Or even the silliest are like foreign languages and whatnot.
I didn't have to take those in college.
Every bachelor's degree that I ever saw required foreign language.
I took 2 years of Latin in high school.
And sometimes they would consider your high school credits, and I never took a foreign language in high school, so I was shit out of luck.
I went to a private school, so I didn't it was a pretty odd sort of curriculum because I only took one math class in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I took a business class and I took a couple different art classes and stuff, but everything else was geared towards one thing or another to do with film, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it's I've never once been asked for the piece of paper by any employer that I've ever gotten hired for.
How do you like that?
I worked so hard 4 years, and I'm led to believe that I need this to get work. And, but here I am, after college, I've been here in New Hampshire for 3 years now, and I get work all the time. That piece of paper means nothing. The experience was where it was at.
Yeah.
But
So, Conan, has anybody ever
I could have
asked you
interned.
to produce your college?
Yes, I don't,
stuff?
and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think at least 2 positions, but I work for the post office, and that might have been one of them. But yeah, I've had to like fax my high school diploma, and I didn't get a high school diploma. I got a GED, so I had to fax that silly thing off to whoever wanted it. I don't remember.
Weird.
Yeah, I am weird. But usually, if you've got college credit, three classes of college will usually overwrite any high school. High school doesn't even
Right.
matter. So I don't know. I don't remember what the situation, the scenario was. But yeah, I have had to show it off, and I do have it. It's in a folder somewhere, and I don't know what would have happened if I didn't have that available.
So what else happened in Keene or in New Hampshire this week?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think it was on Tuesday or Wednesday.
I think it was Wednesday.
When my phone was off, I changed over to Straight Talk, and my phone was off for almost 2 days. But anyways, so I didn't get any of the texts because I would have been out there. But the DEA,
That was Wednesday.
on a countrywide spree,
Yes.
went out and attacked.
Search warrants in
Search
at
warrant-
least 25 states. I heard upwards of 100 different businesses.
And one of the businesses was right here in Keene. They attacked, known as Fat Stuff, which sells.
Sold. No longer. They no
only-
longer had the synthetics.
They sell pipes and whatnots. They used to sell synthetics, and they had all of their glass pipes. They don't call them bongs, but water pipes and hookahs and whatnot were all packaged up, put in the boxes with DEA written big old black
Evidence
letters,
and-
DEA evidence, and they were all shipped off. And the whole store was closed down for almost the entire day while all this happened. Meanwhile, there are other establishments here in Keene who sell the exact same pipes, who weren't touched, who weren't.
Right, because the other businesses never sold the synthetics.
Right.
That the DEA in February and March of this year put on the Schedule 1 classification of controlled substances.
And,
Right.
and you got to ask, why put on their evidence on the box? Why is that written on there? How is that actually going to be used as evidence in a court? If they're looking
Who the
for,
hell knows?
if it has to do with this spice thing, which is terrible, terrible stuff anyway,
which they ceased to sell months and months ago.
yeah,
Right.
right.
Do you know when the Keene, because Keene actually passed a anti-synthetic ordinance.
Right.
I think it went into effect this year, the beginning of this year.
Yeah, I don't
so,
remember when, but it was earlier this year.
And they took it
or
all off their
late
shelf.
last year.
I thought they took the synthetics off the shelf before the ordinance even passed.
They did.
But all right, so what's this all about? Why are they attacking these people? Why are they putting this man? They're trying to.
Right.
They're
Because
essentially they're taking his livelihood
the
away from him.
federal government is claiming that the businesses and the manufacturers of these synthetics are funding Al-Qaeda.
That is so lame.
So lame and so stupid.
Even though the U.S. government is funding Al-Qaeda in Syria because they're the Syrian rebels fighting against the official government of Syria.
Is that why some of the agents had ski masks on? So that Al-Qaeda can't come back and kill their families or something?
No, they probably did it the same reason that SWAT teams generally cover their face, is they don't want people knowing who they are. A lot of those guys probably also work as undercover agents and can't have the identities of the undercovers.
You mentioned that you might have seen one of these guys.
I
before.
know that one of those guys looks familiar, but it could just be that he's got that, the generic cop face.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and play the first 2 minutes of this video. It's a 17-minute video. It's at freekeen.com. Highlights the pretty much the entire day, but I think the first 2 minutes really give you a good idea of just the complete nonsense that went down. Here you go.
So I'm curious, do you guys ever get this kind of reception outside of Keene, New Hampshire, or are they afraid of you in most places? Because Keene, New Hampshire doesn't seem to be afraid anymore. What We're sick of it.
Is Liberty telling where you live? Escape to Keene.
Rich
at
Paul's a character, man. He's a
3TN.com.
fucking character.
Here's
Almost
bad stuff
6,000
here in Keene, New Hampshire. It's being raided right now by the DEA.
Came in with the warrant and basically just said, you gotta wait outside. We're taking everything.
So we're here with Evan from Fat Stuff, and you weren't here when it happened, but you got called in by the employee who was here. The raid happened right after you opened?
Yep, I just came down as soon as I could. Came down here and pretty much the other two employees were just standing outside, just waiting.
What?
The warrant doesn't tell us why. It's a sealed document, so it doesn't give us any reason as to why they're doing this. Just the fact that they can.
So the DEA's in there. What are they taking? Do you have any idea?
From the looks of it, it's all the pipes, every piece of glass we have. But their warrant basically says anything, any kind of smoking utensil, they're going to be taking that. All of our records, receipts, everything like that.
How do you feel about it?
They won't tell us why.
How do you feel about it?
My job fucking blows. We haven't done anything wrong.
And Fat Stuff has been open for a long time, hasn't it? There was in
We've been
Winchester
open for
first.
over 10 years. Been here for, it's going to be 3 years this summer.
Is this the first?
For this summer.
Is this the first raid of any sort?
We do everything we can to basically stay within the law. We're very strict about all our rules.
You sell tobacco smoking devices.
Yeah. We're 18 plus, so anybody who walks in the door, we make sure they're 18 with ID. And if anybody basically implies they're going to be using it for any kind of illegal use, we do not sell to them.
So I noticed they've put up barriers on the windows here.
They took the money?
Yep.
They took the fucking
Are you embarrassed about what you're doing, lady? You should be.
And then that's where the heckling begins.
Yeah, well, I would have heckled that. That was they're actually boarding off the windows with newspaper to keep the outsiders from
public
from witnessing what's going down. They're ruining this establishment. They're ruining these people's livelihoods.
Yes, they are.
For some silliness. They're not selling the poison, which I agree. That's something that I might stand out. If someone was selling poison to the kids, I might, stand out front of their establishment with signs saying, "Hey, look, you guys are, poisoning the wells of these, the young children." And all, but weed?
Right.
Come on, man. And a lot of people, when it comes to like hookahs and stuff, a lot of people don't use hookahs to smoke weed. They buy the flavored tobaccos, and that's something nice to share with during a party or something. But weed? Come on, man. And we're supposed to be like a progressive state where people are getting on board the whole idea that weed is not a fucking issue.
Right, but
not especially when all three of us are here drinking alcohol, which is what kills people.
Right, but this wasn't about cannabis. This was about the synthetic cannabinoids and the
which they didn't have.
Not anymore, but they used to.
So
I'm wondering.
So are they just
of
late?
The places nationwide that were raided, I'm curious if any of them were still selling the things that were placed on Schedule 1 earlier this year.
So did they
or if they all were like Fat Stuff and followed the law and
Right.
or whatever.
Did they
and most of them probably did because they're trying to run legitimate businesses.
Did they write up a warrant 4 months ago and it finally got signed and all right, hey, well, we finally got this warrant signed. What are we going to do with it? Are we just going to toss it in the shredder, or are we going to go ahead and, use taxpayers' money to go fuck with these people for a day? And,
My guess is the latter.
and
let's not waste it. Let's just go ahead and use it while we have it.
Yeah, we've got a warrant. Let's go search places.
I hope that's found out. I hope
then
that
just say Al Qaeda.
Well, I hope that Fat Stuff is able to get their product back, get their property back, and whatever was lost in sales.
Right.
I hope that goes down, because this shit needs to hit the fan. These people have overstepped their bounds and are doing it every single day. The school district did it to us. They're doing it to Fats. The DEA is doing the Fat Stuff right now. What is the fucking DEA even doing here? Why can't the local cops happen? Why did only 2 local cops even participate in this, and all they did was watch the doors? If there was a problem, they should have handled it. If the Fat Stuff was going against city ordinance,
and we don't know if they were.
The local cops, which we have an abundance of, they have plenty of time on their hands. They could have gone in there and they could have
Local cops can't serve a DEA's warrant on behalf of the DEA.
They wouldn't have been on behalf of the DEA. It would have been on behalf of the city
No,
ordinance.
the warrant was for the DEA.
I know.
It was a federal warrant.
All I'm making the argument is that we don't need the DEA to handle our business.
I'm agreeing with you.
Not when local cops could have done
But
it.
the local cops can't serve a warrant issued to another. It would be akin
for another department.
It would be akin to if the state police had a warrant that couldn't be served by the Keene police. It would have to be carried out by whatever department has the warrant.
Right. And I'm saying the DEA is well above our heads. It's an unnecessary department.
Yes.
We have a city force, and we also have a state force. The state force is over our heads and doesn't need to be around.
Plus, there's county sheriffs.
I don't even know what those guys look like. I don't think I've seen one of them yet. Maybe I have.
Brown suits.
In court. I've seen them in court. But this is the thing that makes my blood broil. I find it very upsetting that Fat Stuff was trying to live within the law, and they still. These government officials are finding, time in their day, their big, long, busy schedule to come and, attack the little people. Because that's, what else are they going to do? They're going to shoot your dogs, or they're going to, come take your product from you.
Or both.
I'm
sure if there would have been a dog at Fat Stuff, the DEA would have shot it.
Well, did these guys have? I didn't see any weapons on these people's. Are they concealed?
The DEA agents?
Yeah.
Or, I saw one had a holster.
They looked like a lot of like the lady who's covering up the windows right now. She looked kind of like a desk
paper pusher.
Paper pusher type.
Probably. They probably had some paper pushers. Probably had a couple of regular sort of agents.
Speaking of departments that don't need to be. The DMV
yes
is they have a problem with this certain individual right here who decided to come up with a vanity plate that says "Cops Lie." This is right here in New Hampshire.
Yes.
This is how long has this been going on? This has been a couple years, right?
4 years now.
Wow.
So the man who has legally changed his name from David Montenegro to Human applied for the plate in 2010, and it was denied, but the DMV gave him his second choice, which was Great Government, spelled GR number 8 GOVT. And according to the union leader, some of the others that he put were Love Government, Government Sucks, SILPAC, and Government Lazy.
Now, and which ones of those made it?
Well, they start with the first choice,
Uh-huh.
which was Cops Lie.
Didn't make it.
They said, nope, this violates the rules, and the rule is anything that is offensive, that a reasonable person would find offensive to good taste.
Uh-huh. All right. Which ones made it?
Well, they then went from the first choice to the second choice, which was Great Government. They don't then, after saying, we are granting your second choice, they don't then say, we also would have granted your fourth or seventh.
Right.
So, most likely, based on the decision that Cops Lie was offensive to good taste, LoveGov would have also been okay. I don't know what SILPAC is.
Not a clue.
But it doesn't seem to be offensive to a government agent, so my guess is that one would be okay. Government Sucks and Government Lazy both probably would have been rejected. But the state Supreme Court decided that the DMV overstepped their bounds and decided that Human should be allowed to drive around with the license plate Cops Lie.
Excellent.
But they also remanded the case back down to the Superior Court, but it doesn't really say why in the article, although...
How often does it happen where it actually backslides like that? I didn't even know that was possible.
That happened with Adimo's wiretapping thing, where the state Supreme Court said that the Superior Court erred in the jury instructions, so the case has been remanded. So basically, no harm, no foul. We're declaring that it was a mistrial.
Right.
So it goes back to the lower court.
Gotcha. But all right. So Supreme Court decided that
Supreme Court decided that he can have the license plate, and there's a quote in here in one of these two articles from, I believe it's Gilles Bissonnette or Bissonnet from the ACLU.
And this guy is acting as his own attorney, right?
He acted as his own attorney. He argued the case. He did have a couple of law offices that were assisting him with the case, but he was able to present his own arguments. And then
ACLU, did they have anything to do with this?
They assisted him in some manner. So here it is. The quote from the NHCLU's attorney says, the court remanded the case back to Stratford Superior Court, presumably to address whether he will get the plate, but we believe he should. And there was a statement from the Supreme Court that said that the rule on issuing, based on a community standard of what a quote-unquote reasonable person would find offensive is too vague and would be carried out in a discriminatory manner. And based on the license plate that was rejected and the one that was accepted, they said that in this case it definitely was carried out in a discriminatory manner.
Right. All right. Now, and the big question is, Mr. Darrell, why would the DMV find cops lie offensive?
Why would any government find something opposing the government offensive?
Good question.
That's a very rhetorical question.
Because he could have said government lies, or cops are pigs, or any of those.
And all of those would probably have been
offensive,
thrown out by the DMV as offensive to workers of the DMV.
And that's the worst part right there. That right there is showing bias towards free speech.
Right.
Right.
But I mean, even if I had cunt on my license plate or something, why who is anyone else to find that offensive? I mean,
right. The
majority of people might find that offensive, but it's what the hell?
And you're the guy who has to drive around the car that says cunt on it.
Yeah.
I mean, who are you offending? I mean, if anything, you're probably getting the most blowback from it.
They'll be throwing eggs at me. Well, I'll be getting the finger all day long.
I'm glad you mentioned free speech, because the Supreme Court actually cited the New Hampshire Constitution, Part 1, Article 22, that says that free speech is an inviolable right.
That's right.
Meaning that, it is to not be infringed. So even though the DMV is saying that license plates are not a mechanism for political speech, well, you still have this supposed guarantee of free speech, which means that they can't pick and choose which outlets you use to express something that they deem to be political speech.
You know what Morgan Freeman says about free speech?
Oh, please don't take my freedom.
He says, give it to me. What happened, Bo?
I was gonna say, and we've already paid for
that's the worst part about it. Yeah. We're actually paying for this nonsense. We're actually registering our vehicles, and it shouldn't be the state's job at all. It should be left up to the insurance companies. If the insurance companies think that we need to have our vehicles inspected and have them registered, every one of these vehicles has their own identification.
Got a VIN number.
And let the insurance companies worry about it. If you decide you don't want to get inspections or get it registered, you might pay a higher premium if you want to get your vehicle insured. Otherwise, you might not. You drive around without insurance. But I mean, the state. Why do they have anything to do with any of this?
Because they always give themselves more power. I've actually
Somebody's got to
argued-
get their grubby hands on some
Because
money.
I've argued in court citing the history of vehicle registration, and the original vehicle registration laws were this is voluntary. And as we know, everything that is voluntary becomes mandatory. But what I find the most interesting is some of the comments in this article from the Union Leader, as well as the other article from Reuters, where people are basically saying, like, this guy is he's putting a target on himself. He's going to be pulled over more because of the license plate.
Yeah. He might be looking forward to it. He might have cameras all over his car.
Could be.
He might need to put a sticker right next to Cops Lie. Oh, by the way, I'm recording all of this.
Right.
It's actually a bumper sticker.
Oh, yeah.
So he doesn't even have to say it. And he has one right on his windshield. He's got the
Right.
cop block on his windshield, and I'm recording this.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Prepare yourselves. And I'm taking you to court for whatever you give me,
Right.
regardless of whether I'm guilty or not.
And then I'm pointing this thing out here, this comment. Eileen Ulick says, sweet, I'm heading down to the DMV now to get my big cunt tags. Free speech.
And then all you need to remember is that cops are legally allowed to lie to you. They can lie on the stand in court, and it's not illegal.
How does that work?
Because they have little badges that, give them extra rights according to other government officials. And the government officials have written the rules in such a way as to allow them to violate all other rules. Whereas if you violate any of the rules, you go to jail.
So what you mean is that you've got a judge on the stand who's going to show favor towards the cop because
or the
supposedly
prosecution in general.
Well, not only the judge, but also a jury. A jury will take the word of a police officer as the word of God, even when the cop says, I have no physical evidence to support what I just said.
Right.
They will still find you guilty.
Keep shocking that guy. Even if he's screaming for help, just keep shocking him.
Yeah.
Because I'm the authority figure, and I'm telling you, keep shocking the person until death.
Reference of the Milgram experiment, right? Yeah.
But they won't keep shocking if it's from a peer.
Or somebody that they believe to be a peer.
Yeah.
Or of no legitimate authority.
Right.
Into their minds.
Right, but you take that regular person, put glasses and a lab coat on, and then they'll do whatever that person says because the experiment must continue.
A business suit or a political, like politician suit or something like that is going to have the same effect or similar effect.
Hey, what can we do? Except keep talking about it and let people know. Trying to wake people up. It's a hard uphill battle, man, but
it's worth it.
It
is certainly gratifying.
It's like I said the other day, Bo. I can't look back 20 years from now and have come to the realization that I didn't do anything, and I just even if we fail completely, even if it doesn't work, even if the bombs are dropping in 5 years, if I, had to look back and realize that I just sat in the chair all those years and just yelled at the TV and yelled at my friends at work and all, but I never did anything about it. I think that's the worst thing. And the more people who get off their butts and hey, we have a whole state of people who are getting together. So I mean, it's not like we're alone. Look at it. I don't have a problem really getting people on this show who liberty-minded folks who all have the same kind of idea that government has overstepped its bounds,
right.
and it's not for the people.
Right.
It doesn't work for us. It works for itself, and the only way to get rid of it is to either stop believing in it or to stop paying your taxes to it, so it just starves, or to walk away and go live off grid and wherever those go to Somalia.
Either which way.
Hold on,
Stop
Somalia
being,
has more government
I know.
than any
I was
other place in the world.
Yes, I was being sarcastic.
Right, but there's people that honestly believe that Somalia has zero government.
Mm-hmm.
There is more government in Somalia because the UN has been there for the last 20 some odd years.
Really? I didn't know they've been there that long.
Yes.
Huh.
Remember the Black Hawk Down that happened when Clinton was in office?
That was Somalia?
That is something that statists
That was Mogadishu, Somalia.
statists don't seem to acknowledge that the UN is a government.
Right.
They're not peacekeepers. Angelina Jolie told me that they're peacekeepers, and all they do is cure malaria and stuff.
So, Conan, we're getting to...
They don't ever walk into a country with weapons.
We're getting to your favorite part of the show.
What did you learn?
And Bo, since you're new to the show, I will ask Conan first. Because Conan always tries to dodge this question.
Because this question is always hard for me. But I did think of something. I did not realize that the court process could go back down. So this case, the Cops Lie case, went from the Supreme Court back to Superior Court because Superior Court didn't handle their business properly.
Right.
So I wasn't really aware about it. It makes sense to me now that I think about it, but I didn't know that until
so basically
tonight.
The Supreme Court can declare... Essentially, they can declare a mistrial, meaning that, oh, yeah, we know that you spent 90 days in jail, but that never happened. You get to go back to jail now.
So now once it goes through the Superior Court again, could it potentially go back to the Superior Court?
You mean back to the Supreme Court?
I'm sorry, yes, Supreme Court. For a second,
Potentially,
for a
yes.
second time as well.
Most likely, if it does go back to the Supreme Court a second time, the Supreme Court will not remand the case again.
Right, and what does that cost taxpayers? How much more is it? Every level you go up.
Money.
It's horrible.
Money.
Cha-ching.
Bo, what did you learn during the show tonight?
What did I learn during the show tonight? Well...
It's a hard question, man.
It is a hard question.
Because we didn't really talk about a whole lot of things that we didn't know. We just kind of refreshed.
We talked about the DEA story, which I knew.
This is all just refreshing things that we already kind of knew. I know you pick up on these things because you're always you're looking for these things.
Right.
God damn it, Daryl.
I can
That
say
is so lame.
You can skip it, Bo. Don't hold this.
No.
No, you can skip. You can
Just
skip.
come up with something.
All right.
Let me try refreshing your memory. Did you know that the synthetics were placed on Schedule 1 earlier in the year?
yes.
Did you know that apparently 2 Keene police officers were at the scene?
Yeah, he was
helping? Right, but that doesn't mean that he recognized everybody as either not KPD or whatever.
I actually didn't see any Keene police, but I did hear that there was at least 1. So I did not know there was 2. I guess I can say that I learned there was 2
Mr.
instead of
Conan
1.
Unbelievable.
And
I was told that there was 2.
I learned that Conan did not know how the court system worked.
Oh, come on. You can't use that one.
Why the hell not? I learned that you didn't know how the courts work.
Because that's cheap. Of course you knew I didn't know how the courts work. I don't know any of this nonsense.
I didn't know that.
Most people don't know how the
That's
courts
what you're
work.
here for, to tell me all this shit.
Do you know how a bill becomes a law?
Yeah.
I'm a bill sitting on Capitol Hill.
Is that a little...
Schoolhouse Rocky?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Schoolhouse Rocky. Schoolhouse Rock.
Groovy.
And the way the bills become laws in New Hampshire is completely extra fucked up because after it goes through both houses of the general court, it then goes back to legislative services who checks the bill for any typos or punctuation errors, and then they send the bill to the last house that it was in. Mm-hmm. So if it went through the Senate last, then it goes to the Senate for the president of the Senate to sign off on, and then after that person signs off on it, it goes to the other house. And, assuming that it went through the Senate last and House first, then the Speaker has to sign off on it. And then from there, it goes to the Secretary of State's office, who does something with it before giving it to the governor to sign.
Get those nerds!
So it's a very long, convoluted process.
Yes, it sounds that way. Bo, what's going on, man? You leaving us?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna go back home for a little while and, just kind of get started editing some videos. I'm gonna definitely have some keen footage to come out soon.
Feel free to cut the hell out of my thing, because I know I was rambling. You just cut little spots out.
Oh yeah, well, I filled up.
You won't hurt my feelings if I only have like one word.
I filled up about 2 terabytes worth of footage.
Wow.
Hard drive space.
So wait, you got Lori, you got Conan, you got Daryl, you got Ian, Mark.
Yep. And Garrett, James,
Rich.
Paul, Rapture, yep. There's a lot of stuff, so I'm continue helping me out here.
So you're gonna do like you can do like a little like preview that you're gonna send over to YouTube's.
Well, yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut up different pre-release videos like prior to the movie coming out.
Which is this is not the movie that's coming out Porkfest. This is gonna be.
Well, the movie is actually going to be coming out we're scheduling it for November. So we want to include Porkfest footage into the movie itself.
Gotcha.
That's actually, I intend to shoot as many interviews as I can.
And I mentioned the interviews, but what is the movie?
Well, the movie it's called 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. And the idea is to take this list that's on the Free State Project website and turn it into a movie, essentially promoting New Hampshire as this awesome place to live, because it really is. I mean, there's a community of like-minded people and a great geography and access to all kinds of different markets.
Right.
There's so many different benefits to it. It really needs to be promoted and showcased.
Do you have a website set up for this or anything like that? Do you have a donation page or anything?
Well, it's 101 reasonsfilm.com. And on there's a couple different donation widgets, either Bitcoin or FRN's dollars.
Good. If anyone has ever seen any of Bo's work, he put together Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, which is very entertaining. And you've been putting little clippets out all year. You did you were at the Freedom Forum.
Liberty Forum?
Liberty Forum. I always get that confused.
Yeah, and I put together like a Why You Should Move to New Hampshire video and a Porkfest video. And actually, those are some of the interviews that are going to be included in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's essentially what I was doing. Vince Perfetto, the partner in the video. He's getting it. He and I went around and asked as many questions. Well, as many people like celebritarians, to kind of come in front of the camera and give us their idea on the Free State Project and the future of it and everything.
Outstanding, man. It sounds like I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
For sure.
Cool.
Was that your drone at Porkfest or was it someone else's?
Oh, that was someone else's.
Yours.
That was Josh Noon's.
Yours is out of commission, huh?
Yeah.
James is talking about getting a drone.
Oh, cool.
So that he has.
James talks about a lot of things.
And James makes some of that shit happen too.
Some of it.
But I mean, I like how he's dreaming. But you got to talk the talk sometimes and get the ideas out there, and let it mull around. Just keeping it all inside isn't always going to work.
Right.
The best thing to do is to sit with friends and
bounce ideas
off.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. So when the snipers are at the next Pumpkin Fest, you can have your drone up there checking them out. I mean, think about that. You think they're going to shoot it down in front of all those people?
Maybe.
The other idea is to go to Sunset Peak, and
I I thought you turned the damn beep off.
I did turn the damn beep off.
Did you hit done after you turned the beep off?
Good point. Go to Sunset Peak and
launch it from there
with a telescopic, and because you can see all the tops of those buildings. If you've got a scope that can see that far,
Right, yeah.
that would be some good footage.
Yeah.
Because they're probably going to be back.
Yeah.
I guess it really depends on how much money the city of Keene gives Pumpkin Fest. Because if they don't get that money, how are they going to afford to hire snipers?
They're already saying that they want to wind up giving more than they did last year. Hey, Conan, how can people get in touch with the show?
You know what? I can't play that one again. Hey, you've been watching Black Sheep Rising. You can see all of the videos. The entire archive, 52 episodes, is all at blacksheeprising.org.
That's 1 year.
That's 1 year. And the show notes are there, and the links, and all that good nonsense. If you're a podcast listener and you would rather just listen to this, because we're talking about a long video, you can catch us at iTunes. You can catch us at Stitcher. You can manually download the audio at blacksheeprising.org. If you'd like to get in contact with me, you can email me at show@blacksheeprising.org. There's another option, and I'm really unhappy that you people just aren't taking advantage of it. You can voicemail us at 267-521-2771. Leave anything you like. If it's cool, we might play it on the show.
And if it sucks, we'll play it on the show.
We'll play it on the show, period. Because that's how we do. But, Daryl, where can the people find you at?
They know where to find me over at fpp.cc
Free
and
Planet
fppradio.com.
I was about to say it. I'll just leave it alone. Bo, thanks for being on.
Thank you.
Don't forget to remind people that we're changing the format. So the video is going to be the roughly 1 hour, and then the after show will be podcast only.
I don't know. We're still mulling it around. See, we're bouncing that thing off people's heads right now. We're bouncing that
I thought
idea
we
around.
already decided that 2 fucking hours ago.
We talked about it for like 3 minutes, and I haven't had the
For
opportunity.
like 7.
I haven't had the opportunity to sleep on it.
You gotta sleep on it.
I got to sleep
No,
on it.
you don't.
Yes, I do. Hey, what's this song we're going to close on?
The fuck if I know.
Me turn.
It's like Pantera.
We turn the prisoner off. This is Pantera. This is one of my favorite songs. It also happens to be one of the nicest, calmest of the Panteras. Usually Pantera is pretty heavy stuff. This is Cemetery Gates. This is the Demon Knight version. There are 2 different versions. This is the version that I like. Of course, Pantera is no longer with us. The band, that is, Dimebag, is no longer with us. You're familiar with these guys, right? These are country folk. These are country metal. This is country metal there, Daryl.
I'm familiar with the name. I couldn't tell you anything off the top of my head of what they've sung.
Well, we'll let you listen to
Other
this.
than I know apparently they sang something called Cemetery Gates Demon Knight version.
Silliness.
But that's only because it's on the screen in front of me.
All right, well, guys, enjoy this song, Cemetery Gates. We will see you next week at the same time. Good night.
Is this some conspiracy? Crucified for no sins. Image beneath me, lost within our plans for life. It all seems so unreal. I'm a maker to have in this world, left in my misery.
There's this move I learned from Pornhub. It's called buffering.
Fuck. I thought we buffered the whole thing.
You did, and then you fucking refreshed it.
No, someone went to another site.
You clicked on an article, and then you went back and had to hit refresh.
I might have to refresh it again.
You should run it from YouTube.
Yeah. Click on.
Good point. Good point.
What about Rihanna? You like Rihanna?
I like looking at her booty.
Would you throw her out of your bed? He might take some of this and make a drop where Daryl says, like, ass nugget or some other weird, stupid thing.